Well, we are back. I had a few technical difficulties with some of the streams that I was doing here. I have several different streams that we offer this ongoing series of conversations relating to barriers to your resolutions. And I couldn't let New Year Day go by without giving the last one. So I was going to thinking about waiting till the Monday, but I said, nah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it today. And people will get a chance to see it. We'll see it. And people who don't, well, you can always come back and watch the video of it that sits on these different streaming locations that we have. But anyway, I want to start by just saying Happy New Year to you. Thank goodness that 2021 is over. Excuse me, 2020 is over. I think we all want to just put that up somewhere as a non-memory, all the mess that happened last year. But you know what? I think 2021 is going to present some phenomenal new opportunities for those who are prepared for them. And as you start your new year off, think about now is just the time to prepare for those things that you desire to accomplish this upcoming new year. So, because it is New Year and we're all relaxing and my family's in there watching some shows and I'm in here doing this, I'm not going to stay long because it is New Year's Day and I don't want to take you away from your families. But I do want to talk about the number one, which I believe is the number one barrier. Okay. The number one barrier to achieving the resolutions, achieving goals, business success, career success across the board. Now, this is not etched in stone. This is not the golden rule or any of that. It's just from observation, from years of studying human dynamics, the way people operate, human behaviors, reading books upon book and research upon research and interacting and talking to people all over this world who are in the people business, from educators to professors, and I've really nailed it down to one thing. And I think that, besides all the other things we've talked about, the attitude, negative attitudes, friendships, things like that, self-doubt, all those different things, we've talked about all of them. But I want to give you one that is so important when it comes. And so let's just lay it out there and then won't go long today. Just want to share this with you, maybe some strategies. And that is the number one barrier going into this year. And it shouldn't be much of a surprise because we all kind of know it and have done it, is inconsistency. All right. It's inconsistency. And let me tell you why I think that's the number one barrier. When I watch people, because I watch a lot of people, people I know personally, people I've interacted with over the years who are in this profession and other professions. When I look at people on television and Hollywood and things and people from all over, when I look at these people and I analyze why did they go from here to there? And so many other people may have gone from here to here, like 2 inches. And these people have gone 20 miles in the pursuit of their dreams and goals. The number one reason why is because I believe it on my heart. There are people that were consistent in what they were looking to do and accomplish. And there are people that are inconsistent. They do something for a while, then they stop. Or they start something, they don't finish it. And sometimes you look up in some lives and they have a whole lifetime of inconsistencies. Now, that's not a put down. And don't feel mad if I'm start speaking and you feeling it a little bit, because the reality is you just didn't stay with anything long enough. You didn't put the time in that was necessary to produce an outcome. There's this guy, I like his Entrepreneurs on Fire, a guy named John Lee Dumas. He has, Entrepreneurs on Fire podcast. But he interviews a lot of powerful influencers who share good information. But what I like about it is he said, when I started this podcast, for the first 2-3 years, nobody even really listened to it too much, like a little bit here, a little bit there. But then around the third year, start to kick in. Now, think about that. Can you imagine you putting these podcasts out for years, okay? And nobody's really listening that much. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it's the law of attraction, you've been doing it long enough and people keep telling people and word keeps getting around, then all of a sudden it kicks in. Now he has probably one of the more powerful business-related podcasts in the industry. Been at it probably about 11 years, I guess. I don't know how long he's been at it now, but the reality is most people, and I've done it myself, so I'm telling you, I'm guilty of what I'm telling you. you start it and then you don't stay with it. Like this podcast that Jay and I started. I said, Jay, when Jay McGowan, JD and the trainer, I said, man, we shouldn't even start this if we're not going to stay with it. Because once you get people liking your stuff and interacting with your stuff and it's making a difference, the worst thing you can do is do several series of it and then don't do anymore. And that's unfair to people too, who want to hear what you got to say or learn from what you're learning from, or learn from those people that you're interviewing. So I'm not here to talk about podcasting. It could be anything. It could be a career. Some people pop from career to career to career to career. You never give a career a chance. You never give a career a chance. Like you go from this career to that career, this job to that job. And you find that people who succeed, a lot of times they stayed in something and then they increased in that. They increased in their job. They went from this position to management to, to director to, and I'm not against changing professions, but if you're changing professions every other week or every other month or every other year, how do you grow in that profession? I remember sometimes when someone was asking me, how long are you going to do what you've been doing? I said, till I die, hopefully. I said, what do you want me to do? Something else? Do you got a suggestion for me? Because this is what I love to do, man. I love what I do. You see what I'm saying? Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that response, man. And it's like, yeah, this is so what I've done, and this is important, is you reposition yourself around what you love to do. Now, for the last, couple years or so, I've just been doing stuff virtually, and writing stuff and webinars and podcasts and things like that. But for the first, forever in my career, I was traveling on airplanes and going to this city, going to that city, going to this state, going to that state. Been in just about every state in this country multiple times. But now I haven't been in the state since last March. I had to reinvent myself and go virtual, and do it in such a way that you can still operate within the same level of quality that you had when you were on that stage. I did a keynote in front of 3,000 people virtually. And the only people I can really see were the directors that were in the green room, the executive level people. And they were watching. You can just see their heads nodding. And then afterwards, again, I didn't see the audience. I just saw the directors in the green room. And afterwards, the primary director said to me, how in the world did you just do a motivational, powerful keynote speech virtually looking into a camera? And this is what I said to her. I said, ma'am, with all due respect, I wasn't looking into a camera. I was standing on a stage in front of 3,000 people. I had programmed my mind to get that, to realize I'm not behind no camera. The camera is the vehicle, but I'm still speaking to 3,000 people. So the same mannerisms, the same, all of that. You know why? Because if people paying me to do this, I gotta be consistent. I gotta be on point. So what I'm trying to say is this, when you find what you love to do, just find new ways to be good at it and be consistent. If you say you're gonna write a book, you know what I mean? Write the book. Don't say you're gonna write a book in 5 years later, you're still on the first chapter. Because guess what? You're depriving people of information, and also you're depriving yourself of the joy of saying, look at this product that I've created that is impacting lives in a positive way. I wrote this book entitled The Parent is Coach, Developing a Family Dream Team. And I was a keynote speaker for the National PTA one year. I was actually one of the first non-celebrity, because I don't consider myself no celebrity. I'm a speaker and a trainer. Non-celebrity people of color, okay, that was the keynote speaker there. And that book, I wrote a book entitled The Parent is Coach, Developing a Family Dream Team. That book has impacted lives all over the country. And right now I'm in the process of negotiating a contract where I'm going to be training all these parents on building their family dream teams. And I'm looking forward to that, man, because this is what I do. Hey, what's up, Ricardo, man? Yeah, thank you so much, man. And Ricardo Harris, I love your work, brother, and the things that you're doing, man. But I've been consistent, man. Sometimes there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been roller coaster rides. You know what I mean? We've hit recessions. Keep in mind, I've been at this a long time, almost 2 decades. And so I've been in roller coaster rides. You have economic dips. You have market price crashes. And people are like, you gonna stay with that? Yeah, no. Are you gonna stay with that? You're gonna keep doing what you're doing? And I say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. So, so this barrier, it's so important to understand this barrier of inconsistency will limit you. It will rob you. It will rob you of the achievement of anything that you say you want to achieve. Because what do? You start, and this is people in general, you start, you don't complete. You start, you don't complete. And then here's that's why we talked about obstacles for the last 8 days. Then all these other obstacles start kicking in. Come on, Ron, there you go. That's right. Thank you. You gotta stay the course. Listen, I'm writing a book right now. I'm going to tell you the title of it because it's a good title. I don't want nobody stealing my title because a lot of thieves on social media. All right, but it's in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's going to be powerful. We've been talking about, we've been doing stuff in that arena for a long time around motivating students of color and motivating people, all these different things we've been doing in cultural sensitivity. So it's not new, but I started writing that book 2 months ago and I'm very consistent, at least 5 pages a day. Right. Stay with it. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes it's hard to find time to do 5 pages, but you know what? I got to do it because why? If I don't, that book will never get done because I'll make every excuse not to write this book, you see? And so inconsistency is the number one thing that robs people of the things that they want to achieve, their resolutions. That's why, like I said, we talked the other day, we talked about chemical pathways and how our mind creates habits based upon chemical pathways that we create by doing things over and over, negative things, the incorrect things over and over again. And so our mind starts to consider those as normal. So those, procrastinating, putting things off, doing things this way, that's not the right way. Our mind, when we do it all the time that way, guess what? Our mind starts to say, wow, this is just how we are. And so then I mentioned how we talked about brain set and how once your mind gets used to something of this magnitude, then all of a sudden it starts to see it as normal. And then it starts to fight you when you're ready to change. Because your mind is saying to you, no. This is who we are. So, another things we need to throw into this equation is when we look in that mirror, sometimes that person becomes a barrier too. That person that we see every day, because that person has created a mindset that produces the same kind of inconsistent outcomes year after year after year. And so my hope going into 2021 is that people will start to, there you go. Yeah, there you go, Ron. There it is. I'm the guy, this was Ron saying, I'm the guy who, without commitment and personal accountability, I'm lost. All of us are, Ron. Thank you for sharing that. All of us are. And, people, it's interesting. People will say, that you're lucky or, the things you do, certain things, they want to say it was a byproduct of some, I don't know, take some lemon, squeeze it in the air and jump in the air or whatever. Like it just happened. Weird. And I said, no, luck only comes to people who put forth effort. That's all it is. You can call it luck, but you got to put forth effort. You got to put forth some effort. You know what I mean? I mean, even if you were to hit the lottery, you had to put the effort to go get the ticket. That's effort. If you stayed at home and say, I don't feel like going out today, and then other person gets the ticket and they look at it, you could have won that, but you chose not to go out because you want to stay at home. Effort. So we got to understand something. Going into the 2021, as Ron said, thank you for sharing that, Ron. You have to, and what I'm trying to get people to focus on is have a commitment, all right, and accountability to overcoming barriers. That's the difference in what I'm trying to communicate this year. I'm not saying the goal of building a multi-million-dollar business. If that's your goal, go for it. Or the goal of moving into management. If that's your goal, go for it. But what's going to stop us is the same thing that has always stopped us. And we all know what that thing is for us. You see, so for me, I'm going to tell you something. For me, it was procrastination. I'm just going to tell you right now, because I'm very active. I'm very busy. And it's easy to say, well, I'll get to something. Then I started to realize something. Like Ron is saying here, if I didn't put this thing in a sense of order to focus on every day, with my busy schedule, it'll be 4 months and I forgot what I said I was going to do. You see, So, and see that. So I had to focus on Daryl. You can't procrastinate, man. You can't put things off. You can't, and I had to work at it because my mind, remember those chemical pathways, my mind was very comfortable with that. So I had to make my mind uncomfortable with it. You see, I had to make my mind uncomfortable with those things. So this is really interesting. This is when it comes to inconsistency. This is just a kind of a definition. It says inconsistency, lacking in harmony between the different parts or elements, self-contradictory. Man, an inconsistent story is an example it's talking about. It's like you're contradicting yourself. And so this year, I'm going to say to you, I have a bunch of these that I've placed up here. Yeah. They get it said. There you go. That's it. My secret sauce is no secret. Build my why to transcend the how. There you go. Thank you, Ron. Thank you for your input in this. I really appreciate them. I like when the people share things. We're not on this to do it by ourselves. We're not the sage on the stage, just sharing information. So thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. But here's the thing I want you to get going in this year. And I'm gonna tell you something. Look at the link we put up there for the free webinar. It's free. And I'm telling you right now, if you have not met Jay the Entertainer, you need to meet him. And many of you know he created songs like Hoop There It Is, Hoop There It Is, Come and Ride the Train, 25 million albums. He understands rebranding. He understands effort. This guy is amazing. And we're going to be working together next year doing a lot around transformation. Because let me tell you something. Here's the thing. And hear me out. Don't think I'm because this may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but it's one thing to change. It's another thing to be transformed. Don't forget that. It's one thing to be changed. Now, let me tell you what I'm saying. And this is important. You can be changed, but it's easy to sit back into the old way you're doing things through change. But once you're transformed, you don't go back. You don't go back. And what I want to see people do this year is I want people to not go back. For those of you who are Christians like me, the Bible talks about be transformed. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. And do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your minds. Now, y'all say, man, the Bible, you may not believe the Bible. Well, that's a powerful statement. I do. Thank goodness I do. And I wouldn't want any other way. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your minds. See, the Bible didn't say change, it said transformed. All right. And it also says in the book of Corinthians, it talks about bringing thoughts into captivity. Like our mind stuff is always going on in there. And so if we're not transforming, if we're not bringing thoughts into captivity, what happens is those thoughts just continue to race. And if you want to change and transform in 2021, all right, it's a process. It didn't say your mind would automatically be renewed. It says the renewing, which means it's a process. So I'm getting ready to wrap this up. This inconsistency. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ron. You have a blessed year this year, as well, my friend. And I want you to understand something. I do these things because I'm in the people business. I mean, some people, build automobiles. Some people build airplanes. Some people are acting on stage or whatever. I'm a motivator. I'm a consultant. I'm a coach. I live, eat, and sleep this. I read hundreds of books, thousands of books, and listen to thousands of presenters, and just continually and study a lot of research and look at professors and things of that nature. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate that. And thank you so much, man. And this is why, this is my thing. So I'm not inconsistent. I'm consistently trying to develop myself consistently. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is the same thing, but I'm also, one of the big things is I look at barriers. Okay. So listen, if you're not looking at the barriers that are stopping you from continually doing those things that you say you're going to do, every year is going to become misery to you because you'll start off strong and then you drop. Don't be one of those people this year. Don't be one of those people. Focus on that barrier. Is it procrastination? Is it hanging around negative people? Is it self-doubt? I mean, which one is it? And look at these things and say, okay, I'm getting busy working on that. Because when you do that, then all of a sudden, it's amazing once you start to get control of those barriers, how all of a sudden things just start happening. As Ron was saying, then I can put together a plan and stick to the plan. Why? I don't got that barrier popping up. Or if it tries, I've already got control over it, so it's not going to win. So this year, focus on those barriers. Inconsistency was the big one here. But, there's other ones as well. And you know what your barriers are. Don't let anybody, get you all amped up about things. And then you go in the year, yeah, I'm going to do it. And be like those folks at the gym. They go from January the 1st to the 15th, and you don't see them for the rest of the year. And we laugh at the gym, but that's everything else. It's everything, every other aspect of our life. And so I hope this information was helpful. Again, make sure you go to this webinar we're going to be doing, Jay and I, and there's a link there. You can sign up for the webinar. It's just we're going to be kicking some serious stuff, y'all. And for those you don't know, and many of you do know, that I know people on here do know, I'm invited to do virtual speaking, training, and coaching programs all over the world, and have been for a long time. So, my website is right there, and we do consulting projects and training projects. And we have a lot of customers where we're doing with their staff. We're doing a month. We do it's different topics like core values and team building. And it's just like staff related stuff. We do staff, we do clients, we do students, we do a lot of different groups. But, we do ongoing coaching on top of training. Because my thing is I always tell people, if you want somebody to come in and do a one-time training to build a team, and you got that's like a football team saying we're going to practice one time. You ain't going to build no team with no one-time thing. You got to be able to work at it. So you need somebody to come in and consult on team building or train on team building or coach on it, not just to come do a one-time thing. Now, don't get me wrong. If you got the internal staff that's going to build on it, that's different. But if you think an individualized training is going to cause people to operate within core values, or definitely, when it comes to embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion, that ain't happening in no one shot, because it's taken hundreds of years to get where we are right now. So you got to work on these things. And so as I get ready to close, when we talk about consistency, you got to be consistent with that too. I tell all my customers, you don't get all excited and amped about doing something and then disappear. Go through training. Oh, I'm gonna put my staff through 4 months of diversity training, and for the next 4 years, you don't even talk about it anymore, because that's how things die off. You got to be consistent. So keep in mind, we're talking about personally, but organizationally, inconsistency can be damaging too. All right. You got to be patient, and you got to take the time, and build. I love the Bible because there's so many scriptures to back all this stuff. It says through faith and patience, you inherit the promises. Like, be patient, one step at a time till you start to see the changes. And the customers I'm having the greatest success with are the ones who are saying, Coach, we're going to work together. And my team, my small team that I have, we're going to work together. Myself and Pierre and Jay and Rachel Revel, all of us just we're going to work with you. And we're going to go on this journey together, because the reality is we need to be consistent. You're right, Bonnie. Intentionality matters. And so I'm going to get ready to wrap this up around 23 minutes and go hang out with my family for the rest of the evening. But the reality, what I want you to know is the number one killer of dreams, the number one killer of organizational goals and objectives, career development, business success is inconsistency. I've been around doing this long enough to see people who have achieved super high levels of success in this industry. But the reason why they have, because they're still here. I know people who started years ago, they're gone. You don't even see them no more. They go to a stumbling block and then boom, disappear. Man, listen, like Jay says, obstacles are qualifiers. And those who drop because of an obstacle just open the door for somebody else, because you just self-eliminated because you weren't willing to fight through that obstacle. So that's all I got for you today. Again, take a look at our information. Take a look at that free webinar. And remember, don't let the number one obstacle from my perspective, just Coach D's perspective, all right, being inconsistent, stop you from achieving your goals and dreams in your business, your career, and life in 2021. So take a look at Transformation 2021. If you have any questions, reach out to us. You got all my information, or you can message me on LinkedIn. This is what I do. This is, I'm enjoying this time off because January the 4th come. We're hitting the ground running, man. Webinar after webinar, training after training, coaching after coaching. And, loving what we do, man. We're just working with a lot of people trying to make a difference on the planet during the time in which we have. All right. Take care. God bless. Happy New Year to every one of you. Bye-bye now.